go sit in her doctor's office and wait for hours to see her. Constantly be checking how many pills I had left and when did I need to go back to see her again.
If I felt guilt or shame or anything, I smoked it away or shot it away, and then I had other primary focuses that weren't being a dad, you know?
And I always thought I would eventually, I'll find another alternative or I'll figure something out.
I was definitely off the deep end then and had accepted that I was gonna be on drugs forever. It's like never quitting this stuff.
How many times were you shooting?
Probably about every 4 hours, every 3-4 hours.
I probably didn't look in the mirror for years. Just, you don't wanna look at yourself.
Lived every day waiting for a phone call to find out that something had happened to him.
And I said, I'm prepared for his death. And he said, Mom, you can't think like that. And I said, no, I have to be.
Four! Ball Blues, he's safe! Catch, you okay? You okay, Catch? Hey, come on, we need a medic! Medic! Get someone out here now! Come on, get someone out here now! Get someone out here
This documentary is dedicated to the millions living in recovery and those ready to begin your journey.
Momo? You ready to get up and get rolling? Usually it's so you're up at 6, listen to an audiobook for 30 minutes, wake the boys up, shower. Because my mindset when I had Asher first was like, I'm gonna be the greatest dad ever, and I made it about me. And then when I went through what I went through and I learned what I learned and they came back into my lives, my mindset shifted from being, I'm gonna be the best dad ever, but like, oh crap, I gotta groom these guys. I gotta groom these people for real life. So I was like 24, working in the nightclubs. It was a karaoke bar, and I said a cuss word when I was singing, and somebody was like, hey, shut the music down. I'm like, hey, pow. I broke the metacarpal here, and they gave me some pain pills, and that was it.
Growing up in Boulder City, it was kind of a boring town, so you had to get into something. So I rode BMX with all my friends. The neighbor had a quarter pipe, and he let me have it, and I put it in my backyard. And over time, it like slowly built into like a pretty big skate park in the backyard. So I had like a pretty cool place to ride growing up. By the time I was in high school, I was in a magazine already.
Kyle, everybody's like, he's gonna be like the best for a while, and then he just disappears. When he was down that path, nobody got to see him ride a bike anymore.
A lot of it I didn't see in the beginning. I didn't kind of know. I was a little naive, and then it got to the point it got, and then we didn't really see Ryan.
You get hurt almost every day riding your bike. And like when you have a sustained injury and you have like pills prescribed to you, you take them and then you go ride, And like you're doing that every day, and then eventually you kind of have to take the pill to be in the mindset to ride.
So I'm self-employed, and I have a really great clientele. I'm very fortunate. I had always had pain with my cycle, and I found a doctor who, said, let's explore this. Maybe there's something going on. And she's like, okay, this is what's going on. You have endometriosis, and that's why you're having the pain. And I was like, oh my God, so what do I do then? And she says, well, you can take pain meds, and that's really about it. I'll just take these pain meds then. But then what happened was, when I needed to, became more frequent, because I didn't have pain all the time, but my mind was telling me I did.
All your thought is going into how to properly manage this pill, this bottle. How do I manage this bottle so I can feel the best, I
wasn't thinking I have a problem, I need to get off these pills. I was like, I have a problem, I need to get more pills.
Greg, hey man, hey, it's Colin, man. I need your help. I went in, they said that they couldn't see me anymore, that they couldn't. I'm freaking out, man. Like, I'm feeling real sick, I'm feeling terrible. I need you to get me on this, okay? I need your help, man, please. Just help me out on this one. I'm desperate, man. Like, I'm desperate. Please. Don't say no to me right now, please. Thanks, man. I owe you one. I'll be there in 10.
I think the shift is when you're taking them to feel normal. How can I get back to where I felt here? When you start, when your line for normalcy changes.
When the pharmacy wouldn't refill my prescription, and I started freaking out and like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? And then I wanted to go to different pharmacies and go to different doctors. I think that was when I really knew I had a problem. But then my mind would say, no, you have this condition, you need it, you just need to do less.
In your head, you're thinking, well, it's not heroin, so I'm not that bad off. Eventually, you're just hanging around the wrong people. But then the day comes where you're like, okay, I have nothing and no money, and this guy's offering me heroin, so I'm just gonna try it this one time and see how it is.
Every time the phone rang, you'd think this is the call. And you know how many calls that you get that are just nothing calls, but your heart sinks every time the phone rang.
I remember Asher was he was always talking. When I did pick him up from daycare one day, he wasn't talking, he just stopped talking. He wasn't himself anymore. I'll never forget picking him up and him sitting in the car seat and just looking at me like I was a stranger, When I knew the impact that I had on him, that hit me, that was the worst. You're not thinking about what's really important. What's really important was my son being born. What I thought was important and what I was thinking about was, do they know? Am I gonna get caught? Roman was taken, and then when he was taken, that's when I went back to the streets.
The choices he made, the heartbreak that goes with those choices. He was never nothing. He just didn't act like he was what he was.
When I was in jail, I was just learning and learning and reading. But when I got released, I relapsed again. That was my rock bottom. When I had 11 months clean, and so I used again, and then they locked me up, and when I was in jail that time, that was that's it. I can't figure it out.
I think my mom called me and was like, oh, Travis is having a baby. And I was like, oh, can I come to the hospital? And she's like, oh, no, they don't want you here. And I just remember I wanted to die, and I remember just getting up and just walking really far, just in the middle of the road, just like waiting to get hit.
Like I couldn't wake up without using, I couldn't go to sleep without using something. So I was right on the brink of just completely losing everything. So my son was 6 and he was in 1st grade. We would do homework after we would get home. We would have dinner and then we would do homework. And one night I was just so frustrated with him. He wasn't understanding or just not wanting to do it. And I was so frustrated. I got so mad. I started yelling and screaming, cursing, and I just walked away from the table and I went in the bathroom and just looked at myself in the mirror, and I was just disgusted with myself. I thought, what is wrong with you? You can't even do homework with your 1st grade son, you know? So I realized I had to get my life together, that I had to stop. Because if I didn't stop using, he would have no chance.
Why are you packing a bag?
I just need some time away.
What do you mean you need some time away? You just got here.
It's best if I'm not here.
I think it's best that you're here.
Look, Dad doesn't want me here.
Of course Dad wants you here. That's why he brought you back after rehab and you didn't go and we paid for it.
You know that I didn't want to go. You forced me to go.
Is it? Okay, but we said you could stay here and all you had to do was stay sober.
And I'm staying sober, but that doesn't mean that I want to be here.
Sober. You're staying sober?
Yes.
Why are you wearing a long sleeve sweatshirt in 100-degree weather, Colin? Colin, let me see your arm.
No.
Let me see your goddamn arm, Colin.
Stop it!
You're using again! Colin! How many times are you gonna keep doing this to yourself? How many times are you gonna do this to us? You're gonna die.
I was sober in jail for 6 months. I got out, they house arrested me, and at some point I was like getting ready to cut the house arrest monitor off my leg, just as one of my friends from the streets walks in the house I was in and telling me, don't do that, you need to show us that you can do it, so you can be an inspiration to all of us and that we can get off this stuff. That moment was the moment where my mind kind of flipped. That's when I cut ties from everybody I knew on the street and just really started to kind of work the program.
The next day, I brought him to school and I went to a meeting. I was going to 2 or 3 meetings a day for about a year and a half.
I wrote a letter to a lady that ran these sober living houses and asked her if she would help me. She bet on me. I was really aggressive towards getting my life together.
I work for the Overdose Data to Action. Hello. I'm the prevention coordinator and the peer support specialist. The stuff we're gonna do with Jessica, I do that in my own time. It's not something I'm paid to do. It's super important to me because we went to that Christian center together, so it just goes back pretty far. And I know she's doing the same stuff I'm doing. She was doing it when I was doing it, and hasn't been able to get off of it.
things that I have questions about, like, Ryan, how did you do this when you got sober? He's got a sound answer for everything too. Like, it's like something, because he's been through it, and that is invaluable to me. Like, you could buy every excuse in the world, but it's never, like saying it never, this time is not the right time, but it's never going to feel like the right time. I know that what it comes down to me is, like Ryan said, the impending things that are out there for you, if you continue to use, or you'll end up in an institution, jail, or death. They're guaranteed, you know, if you keep going down this path. And I know that, and I don't want that. And so, sooner than later, so. Because I know she wants to get clean, but she has that fear of the withdrawal, and I try and, just offer her support whenever she's ready.
You have to build something that you won't ever let go. Not forever, right? You can't, it's not like a 30-day diet. Like, after 30 days and I can eat gluten again. This is it. Like, and you have to commit to something, anything that's small, whatever it is, and something that is a constant reminder that you just stay focused. Because of course you're gonna be all over the spectrum. It's gonna be tough, dude, but if you have like something to come back to, that's what's gonna keep you moving forward. You gotta have something.
That's crucial. Like, I think whatever it is you're doing, like, find something else that you love to do, art, or be creative, or go join a book club or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, as long as like it's positive, then you got a good head start. I just decided to throw a jam and just put a little flyer up on Facebook and come ride type of thing. And it's in a month, and it's gonna be pretty big.
It's January 15th of 2001. So this year, it's now 2021. I celebrated 20 years in January. I feel great. Like, sometimes I'm just blown away. I'm just like, wow, really, this is my life? I've been so blessed with so many things. Like, truly grateful beyond.
I mean, I got a tat on my arms. Look at those bad boys, huh? Labor and love. For me, and everybody's got a different gig, right? But for me, what I needed was something simple. So if you can just love on things and work your ass off. That's it. Just love as much as you can and work as hard as you can, and everything's a gift. When I got out, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to be, but I knew I just wanted to work with people.
The philosophy that a person's good deeds will contribute to his or her own good fortune, that is the idea behind karma boxes that are turning up around Reno, filled with food and hygiene items free for the taking.
I think the idea is that, like, for me, like, how can you create as many programs or projects that can help as much people as possible? I know it seems like it's idealistic, but like, I think we can do more.
At first, you're cautiously optimistic because you hear so many people that relapse and they're back at it again. It was a huge relief when I could hear him say that he was really done.
Sort of peaceful to be able to not worry about that part of it.
My brain was like sober enough at that point to see the benefits, and my brother just had a baby, and I wasn't like allowed to be around it, so I wanted to be around my niece.
He wanted to be a part of my children's life. He wanted to be an uncle, and I didn't want him around. I didn't want him because I didn't want to bring that into my family where I was at, and so to be able to have him back, it's pretty good.
So the school calls me, and they say that Roman is not, he's having problems with working, because instead of doing the work on the computer, he's on the internet. And I'm like, what? And I show up to the school, and I'm like, so what's going on? And she's like, well, instead of doing his work, he's going on the internet. And I'm like, what's he looking up? She's like, he's Googling you. That was cool. He's Google. So we'd moved from one spot to another spot. We lived in a room with a bunk bed, and me and Romo had to sleep on the bottom because all of our clothes are on the top. But none of that mattered. Like, Roman never complained. They're bought into just growing with her dad.
They loved him even when he was on the downside. They loved him. But now it's different because they can count on him. He is there with them now. And I think that strengthens their bond, and it's more what it should be. I can't tell him how valuable he is. But he's of more value than I even thought he was when he was that little boy.
The world is a better place when just one person gets better. The value of recovery is for the group, right? We all get better when you get better. And that's a fact. It's a fact, you know?
Seeing someone come back from that dark path that a lot of people don't, it's pretty special. I feel that everyone's got a plan for their life. You know, sometimes the darkness gets in the way, but Ryan's come through that like full circle now. So he's on to bigger and better things.
You very seldomly see someone have like that trajectory of a career where he's like one of the first dudes on Monster, and then, you know, going through what he did and like sleeping in tunnels. He's like living his swan song now. Like, look at this, it's crazy. There's like so many people here for him.
I think Sober Jam shows that his family's here and we're all in his corner, and when somebody needs something, we're gonna get behind it.
The park is filled completely, so it's like so touching to me that so many people showed up for me, and it makes me stay stronger in my sobriety. I've had, you know, probably 50 people come up to me today and just be like, man, you're such an inspiration. I'm so glad you did this. Thanks for throwing this. And like, I don't know, it's just heartwarming, I guess. I got a tattoo today, 5-year sober tattoo. So in the next 5 years, I'm gonna do another one. I know what it's like to not have freedom. I've been in jail. There's no freedom there. Been addicted to drugs. There's no freedom there. You're just in a box in all these places. And now that I'm out of that and I can roam freely, it's the best feeling in the world. Something about that is how it's supposed to be.
Call.
All right, I'll tell you what. You might not feel like it right now. You're in the best place you've been in a long time. This is what we call in the business a rock bottom. But you're right where you need to be.
How is this possibly where I need to be? If you're just gonna give me shit, then I don't need to be here.
Why did you call me?
I don't have anywhere to go. I need help.
That's not why you called me.
I need to figure out how to...
What do you want?
I need somewhere to go. I can't sleep on the street again.
Colin.
I need help.
Colin. What do you want?
I want to stop. I want to get sober. And I want my life back.
And that's why you're right where you need to be. You got nowhere to go but up.
My name is Jamie Peterson Ayub, and I have been clean for 20 years.
I'm Ryan Mills, and I'm 5 years sober.
My name is Grant Denton, and I've been clean for 6.5 years.
I just celebrated 20 years sober.
Hit 2 years sober this Saturday.
2 years, 7 months, and 1 day clean.
For 3 years and 4 months.
Celebrated 3 years.
2 years. For almost 9 years.
36 years clean.
For 11 years.
7.5 years.
2.5 years.
14 months.
For 19.5 years.
Good, how are you? I'm Jessica and I have 49 days. A dear friend who really was always out trying to get me here was sat here right before me, and that meant the world. This is somebody that I have known pretty much my whole life, and to see us both here now, this seat means everything to me. It means my life.
Recovery is absolutely worth it. And once you make that decision, everything changes. How you see things, there's a paradigm shift that's going to happen within you.
You just have to try it and give it a go. People start to care less about your past the further you get away from it.
Oh yeah, it's totally worth it. Everything that addiction took away from me in my life, I now have it back tenfold.
You can live a life without drugs and be happier than you've ever been in your life. It's possible. It's more than possible.
The process is a very hard one, but in the end, the hard work you put in actually helps.
Start where you're at and just put one foot in front of the other, and eventually, if you do the work, sobriety and recovery will follow.
Once you start to change who you are and what you're about inside, you start to attract different people. People are very, very supportive of you.
It means that I get to be a mom, and it means I get to be a good friend and a good daughter, a good sister, and a good person.
This seat represents recovery, it represents hope.
And I invite you to join us, one of 23 million people in the U.S.
To come and take a seat.
I encourage you to come forward.
Come sit in this chair and tell me your story.